Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Ubuntu 18.04. This is an LTS release and it's packed full of features. And I mean the actual operating system itself has been working fine for me, but this is about take 2000 now, so hopefully this time it will go right. So anyway, let's just go ahead and do this all over again. So Ubuntu 18.04, 4 gigs of RAM because I'm feeling generous, and I've got hiccups once again. Attach the ISO file and boot it up. So I mean, as you saw, I've given it a generous amount of RAM and a generous amount of virtual hard disk space, so it shouldn't have any issues, really. Now, there are loads of features, but I won't talk about them just yet. I'll wait till it boots up, and then obviously I can talk you through them. So, let's just wait on this now. Now, Ubuntu 18.04 was released on the 26th of April 2018, and I'm recording this on the 27th of April 2018. The reason for that is because they found some sort of bug which meant they couldn't actually get this released until about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, so obviously I'm not going to be doing it then, because I'll be more useless than a drunk sloth. Alright. So far all I can see, change wise, is that it's got a different background. Let's go ahead and install Ubuntu. English UK, that'll be fine. Now, this is really interesting, this part here, because obviously the normal installation is what we're all used to. It's also got a minimal installation, which basically means it only comes with a web browser, desktop environment, and basic system tools, which is rather interesting, really. I suppose it comes with, Mozilla Firefox would be the web browser naturally, but yeah, I mean, I might try that in a future video. It basically means you can do a lot more customization wise. If you're a very experienced user, that'll be the option for you, because I mean, it doesn't come with things like LibreOffice and the games and VLC and all that, so it's rather interesting, but that'll be, like I say, for another video. Let's not download updates because it will take about a millennia, but let's install third-party software for graphics, Wi-Fi, etc., because out of personal experience that tends to actually work better with virtual machines. Erase disk and install Ubuntu, London. Right. Let's just use the least secure password in the universe, because I'm only probably going to be using, obviously this for this video in this virtual machine, but I will be using it on other laptops as well as time goes on. So let's go log in automatically. Alright, so this is the usual time where I start reading out my homework and start thinking about what the system's going to be like. So I mean, as I've already said, with the minimal installation option, it's not actually a replacement for the Ubuntu minimal ISO, but it is actually similar in some respects, obviously because it's only got a web browser, desktop environment and basic system tools, as I've already said. Now the system boot up time will be decreased, and this is because the Ubuntu development team have been working on tweaking systemd's features to achieve this, and quite remarkable actually what they've done with that, but that's for a whole other video as well. Now it has got the GNOME 3.28 desktop, and as you probably already know, in Ubuntu 17.10 it did have an adapted GNOME desktop environment, but we can expect it to look slightly differently because obviously they've been getting feedback and they've been improving it, so that looks well, that would be exciting anyway. And the ZSTD compression algorithm can decrease Ubuntu's install time by 10%. In a future video, I'll be testing this out by doing computers side by side. Sorry, I was distracted by a bird outside, which seems to be picking my fence for some reason. But getting back to the subject on hand, I will do a side-by-side comparison on the actual same computer, and time how long it takes for each one, and speed it up and do all the usual things. So that'll be that anyway. Now, it has got the new kernel version 4.15. This is obviously the Linux kernel, and that basically means that it'll be slightly more stable and it will have more security features, as well as being patched for the Spectre and Meltdown processor situation, which happened last year. So, well, it was earlier this year actually, wasn't it? And apparently, unfortunately, Ubuntu have dropped support for a 32-bit version, which is annoying. But it may still be available through the web installer, although I can't verify this because it's obviously just rumour, but I guess I could try that out one day. Now, there are a few other minor features. There's a new installer for Ubuntu Server, support for colour emojis, and Ubuntu will collect some data about system configuration and install packages on your machine with your consent. And that's the three important words when it comes to operating systems collecting system configuration data. Because there was a big scandal with Deep in Linux earlier this year, which I actually did a review on, and loads of people said it was actually spyware, but yeah, don't really know what to think about that. But anyway, let's just speed up the video now and wait for this to install. Right, so the installation is now complete. Let's go ahead and restart. Now, the interesting thing about what you're about to see is either whether it will still come up with that same old message. Oh yes, it tells you to remove the installation medium and press enter, even though it ejects it automatically. So don't quite know what happens then. But rather strange, really. I mean, it might be, well, it's an age-old bug, really. I mean, that was around in 14.04, 16.04, and in virtually every other Linux distribution I've ever reviewed, or even had to look at. So, I mean, I don't know why it comes up with that still. But who knows? Let's just wait for this now. I presume we're going to go straight to the desktop. Oh yes. So the first thing that you'll notice is that the keyboard shortcut screen that was in the last LTS release, Ubuntu 18.04, has been replaced with this welcome screen. Now here is the keyboard shortcuts splash screen from Ubuntu 18.04. So it's really different, really. Obviously, it's a quick demo of all the different things that 18.04 has. And oh, hang on, I wonder what happens if I... Can you click on any of this? Maybe not. I thought you could click on it and it'd come up with some information, but maybe not. Live patch is also rather interesting. I bet you it's going to ask for one of them blooming Ubuntu One accounts now, isn't it? Oh yes, that basically means that it can install updates that would normally require restarting, as it says there, but it doesn't need to do that, so quite good really. Now, this was what I mentioned earlier about this whole data privacy thing. Now, you can actually see what they'll send off. This is about basically crash reports and software installed all of that sort of thing, and your approximate location, not your exact location. So they aren't really being naughty here, because you can see exactly what's in the report, and you can either say yes, send it to Canonical to help them out, or no, basically for the Illuminati people who believe that there is a secret lizard empire that rules the world, or yes for basically helping them out. So that's basically that. And yeah, standard applications here. Android Studio, Notepad++, all very nice indeed, and even Minecraft. Didn't know that was compatible with Linux. So let's move on to the next big thing, which I think is rather interesting. There is some UI changes in, for example, this file manager here. You can see this sort of side panel down the side here is darker. I mean, the icons haven't changed in years, but this does actually look rather nice. I mean, here is the file manager in Ubuntu 17.10. So you can see the difference anyway. I mean, it does look slightly darker, which is rather nice actually. And I believe they've moved these, obviously the maximise, minimise and exit buttons over the other side of the screen. So that's that anyway. Now, this is a really interesting part that stirred up a lot of emotions and everyone's angry about it. Basically, here's LibreOffice. LibreOffice is really nice and LibreOffice hasn't done anything wrong. But one thing that has happened is, obviously you can see the menu bar up here. In Ubuntu 16.04, it used to be at the top and everyone loved that. But in this one, it isn't. It's just basic information about the app. And this is the same for all non-GNOME applications. One thing we can also see is it reminds me of Windows Vista in a way, but not a bad feature actually, it's rather good. In terms of productivity, you see how it's all, it's transparent, you can see through it, and it's like that sort of aero glass transparency we did see in actually Windows Vista. When we snap this to the top, you can see it goes all dark. And I think that is such a good feature because it means you can focus on your work and you won't be focusing on what's behind it, which I rather like. And like I say, that was a feature from the old Windows Vista system, which obviously is now virtually abandonware. Now, I mean, it does relieve quite a lot of redundant space. It would be nice if they could, maybe in a future release, patch that up so it can actually run non-GNOME applications. Well, non-GNOME applications can have their menu bars at the top there, which would be rather nice, really. So let's just close that now. And I believe that is basically about it for this video, really. I mean, I do hope you've enjoyed it. And I mean, I will be... Let's have a look down here, actually. I will be obviously having a look at this quite a lot, because obviously it's the latest LTS release of Ubuntu, and everyone gets excited about that. So this will be used on numerous computers in the future. But for now, at least... Well, that hasn't changed much, has it? For now, let's just quickly open settings, shall we? Oh, that's changed. I'm not sure how it looks in Ubuntu 17.10, but that definitely has changed from 16.04. Shall I tell you what? I'll show you whether it's Ubuntu 17.10 or 16.04. Either way, you'll want to know if you're switching from 16.04, which is the last LTS release, to this one. So as you can see, it's rather different, and yeah, quite major UI change. Here is the Ubuntu software app. I thought they were going to replace this with the GNOME software application, but I don't think they have. Obviously VLC is just chilling up there. Yeah. And, well, that's about it. I mean, that has had some major design changes as well, and it's quite odd getting used to the icons being around this side. I'm certain they were on that side. I mean, I haven't even taken the snapshots yet of the other systems, so I'll have to wait and see whether that is actually the same. It'd be a bit embarrassing if it isn't. But yeah, that's basically it. So, I mean, I do hope you've all enjoyed this video today, and if you have, then feel free to support my channel, not by giving it any money, but by simply subscribing to it, as this does give me some more motivation to make future videos. And, well, that's about it. So, thank you all once again very much for watching, and until the next video, goodbye.